All right, let's get right into it. For weeks, it feels like we've all been holding our breath, watching this high-stakes standoff between the US and Iran. A fragile ceasefire was about to collapse, and honestly, it really seemed like military action was just around the corner. But then, the whole story took a really dramatic last-minute turn.
So the big question on everyone's mind is, are we back on the brink of war? Is it happening? Well, the latest news gives us an answer, but it is definitely not a simple one.
For now, the answer is no, we're not. But wow, did it come down to the wire. This was a true 11th hour decision, one that completely shifted the entire dynamic of the crisis. So here's the headline news just hours, and I mean hours before the deadline was up. President Donald Trump announced that the U.S. ceasefire with Iran was being extended indefinitely. That 2-week truce was about to run out, and Trump himself had been warning that the bombing could resume. And then, just like that, he completely reversed course. So you're probably asking, why the sudden change of heart? Well, according to Trump, it boils down to a couple of things. First, he says the decision came at the direct request of Pakistan's leadership, who are kind of stepping in as mediators here. And second, he mentioned that Iran's leadership seems fractured, and they need more time to come up with a single, unified proposal for peace talks.
So that all sounds like pretty good news, right? But here's the catch. And trust me, it is a huge one. This ceasefire comes with a major condition that is the absolute central sticking point for Iran. Let's break down the standoff. On one hand, the U.S. has hit pause on any military attacks. But, and this is key, they've made it crystal clear that the military blockade of Iran's ports is going to continue. And that is the one thing Iran cannot stand. So what do? In response, they've shut down the critical Strait of Hormuz and have even started threatening the oil production of their Gulf neighbors if they help the U.S. So, yeah, the guns might be silent for now, but the economic warfare is absolutely at a fever pitch.
And all of this pressure, it has a very real, very human cost. I mean, just listen to this quote from a resident in Tehran. It says, "This cursed ceasefire has broken us." For people on the ground, even with the truce, life has actually gotten worse. They feel completely squeezed between their own government and the crippling effects of this blockade. For people like Sagar, this isn't peace at all. It's just a different kind of suffering. To really get a handle on how we got to this point and where this could all be going, we've got to look at the key players who are moving the pieces in this very complex, very high-stakes chess match. All right, let's run through the roster. First, you've got the United States, which is using that tough blockade as its main bargaining chip. Then you have Iran playing its cards really close to the chest. They've stayed totally silent publicly, probably trying to figure out their next move. Right in the middle is Pakistan, with Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif really stepping up as a crucial mediator. And of course, watching all of this from the sidelines is the UN, really hoping this can all lead to some kind of diplomacy. And this is so important to remember. None of this is happening in a vacuum. The tension between the US and Iran is spilling over. It's directly connected to a whole second conflict that's already simmering right there in the region. At the very same time, there's a separate 10-day ceasefire happening between Israel and Lebanon. This one involves Hezbollah, which, remember, jumped into the conflict with rocket fire to support its ally, Iran. And even with this official truce in place, there's been sporadic violence, little flare-ups, with both sides blaming each other. It just goes to show you how interconnected and incredibly volatile the entire region is at this very moment. And the human cost on that second front? Well, this number really says it all. 2,454. According to a Lebanese government body, that's how many people have been killed in Lebanon since this war began. It's just a stark, awful reminder of the devastating toll these conflicts take on ordinary people. Okay, so with all these moving parts and all this tension, how are we supposed to make sense of it all? Well, there's one expert analysis that offers a really powerful way to reframe this entire standoff. This quote from Daniel Byman at the Center for Strategic and International Studies, it just hits the nail on the head. He says the conflict has shifted. It's not really about who has the bigger army or more advanced weapons anymore. No, right now it's a test of political will. It's a struggle of who can hold out the longest, who can endure the pressure, and who has the most leverage when they finally get to the bargaining table. Which brings us right back to the final critical question. The military attacks have been paused, but that economic war is still raging. All the key players are locked in this grueling test of endurance. So is what we're seeing a genuine first step toward peace, or is it just a timeout in a much longer, much more dangerous war of wills? That is the question hanging over everything.